Hello.
Yellow.
Welcome back to Is It Better Than Paddington 2? This is the movie review show where myself and a guest come together to discuss whatever film I have chosen and ask the ever important question, is it better than Paddington 2?
It's important,
I
man.
am your host, Ben Selsor, and today I am joined by a very, very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself, my dear friend?
Yeah, I'm a childhood friend of Ben's. I've been friends with him basically since second, third grade. My name is Anthony, and this is my first time on a podcast. So
It's a pleasure,
yeah,
honestly.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, this is I brought in my buddy Anthony for this one. We've been friends for like 13 years.
That minute we saw ourselves through those hell years at Auburn, man.
Sometime in middle school.
Yep.
I don't remember if it was 4th or 5th grade. It was one of the two.
Yep.
But yeah, we've been like best friends for as long as I can remember. And so I brought on my buddy for the very last pre-recorded episode.
It is a pleasure to be here, man.
Of my podcast. I have a podcast.
I'm a podcaster, guys.
I'm a double time podcaster. I have 2 podcasts. I am the trope. I am the guy. I'm like,
You're a podcast bro.
I'm a podcast bro for real. But I only make podcasts about stupid things.
Hey, man. As long as you're enjoying yourself.
So on this last season of Is It Better Than Paddington 2, we are of course tackling some of my favorite movies. And today we are going to discuss one of my favorite movies of all time. I believe it's number 3 on my Letterboxd top 4 movies. We're going to be discussing The Big Lebowski.
Classic
Coen Brothers movie from like 98, I think. It's sometime in the
Probably.
90s. I know the
Seems
movie
like
takes
it.
place sometime in the 90s at
Yeah.
least. Starring good old Jeff Bridges, not as the titular character, but as the dude. What's his name? John Goodman as Walter.
God, John Goodman in that
the
movie.
best character. Steve Buscemi as Donnie. Fucking Sam Elliott
I was
as
gonna
the
say the guy with
narrator.
the mustache. He's just there.
This is like a pretty Philip Seymour Hoffman plays like a side character in this movie. He's just Jeff Lebowski's butler.
Yeah, it's kind of a nutso cast for such a strange movie.
It's a very star-studded cast, or at least like retroactively it is. But like, you used to always tell me. It was before I ever watched the movie. This is when we were still in high school. I remember you used to always tell me that I reminded you a lot of the dude. And well, at first there was one thing. I thought whenever you were saying the dude from The Big Lebowski, you were saying like the dude lowercase from The Big Lebowski. I didn't know that was the character's name.
No, sir.
So I thought you were basically just saying, you remember me that guy from The Big Lebowski? And like now that I have watched it several times and have made it a part of my personality, like for reference, he has this cardigan that he wears throughout the movie, and I'm wearing it right now.
It's the same exact one.
And he has this pair of pajama pants that he wears a few times throughout the movie, and I have those pajama pants. Like I dressed up as the dude for Halloween. My dude's sunglasses just broke recently.
Brutal.
Yeah, it wasn't like something I could fix in a way that I
Yeah.
could fix either. It was like one of the frames around the lens snapped and the lens came out. So
That's
I
brutal.
got to get a new pair because it's my personality now.
Yeah, man. I'm just saying. I feel like I really set a precedent back then in high
You
school.
you didn't know what you were doing.
I didn't
you didn't
know.
know that you were like potentially changing my life and personality,
Yeah.
arguably for the better.
Was the first time you watched that? Was that in all of us stuffed up to Nick's room?
Yes,
that was the first time.
The first time I saw it, we were with a group of our friends at the time, the fellas, as we called each other. One of our friends, his name is Nicholas. He had like an upstairs house, and he had like a room next to his bedroom that just had like a TV and a collection of a bunch of his stuff.
It's way too small for the amount of people who'd stuff
There was
in
a
there.
couch in there. His Xbox was in there, and all of us, which was like 9 or 10 of us.
It was a tiny room.
It was
Tiny
a very
room.
small room, not big enough for all of us, not air conditioned.
It got hot.
It got very warm. It was upstairs in an old house
Yep.
in the middle of nowhere, Illinois.
Yep.
And we would all get up there, crack a window open, crack some sodas,
Yep.
and we would like do movie marathons. So like there were nights where we would like be up until like 4 a.m. watching like 5 different movies.
Yeah,
it was
be
intense.
crazy up in there.
Could never do it now.
Yeah, right. We're getting
I,
old.
I get tired at 9 p.m. now.
I'm saying we're grandpas now.
I am. God, how old was I when we started doing that? It was like I was like 17 then, so it's only been 5 years.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad when you think about it, but I'm not going to think about it.
It is what it is.
That's what I'm saying. So the first time I watched The Big Lebowski was in this room, surrounded by a bunch of other dudes my age. Some of them shirtless.
Yeah, probably sweating.
Some
your
of them
balls off.
pantsless. Some of them like literally down to their underwear. I was sitting on the couch. It was 2 a.m.
Yep.
I was tired and a little delirious. Were you there?
Yes, I was
Yes,
there.
you were there.
I'm laughing because I'm remembering this
Yeah.
night now.
Okay. I don't remember if you were there or not, because not all of us were there.
Oh, I was there. I think I was the one that was like, we should watch The Big Lebowski. I think I was the one that brought the movie.
Probably. So we were all sitting there, and we turned on this movie. And like my life has forever changed.
There's a very distinct pre and post Ben.
There's like that meme of like me sitting in the movie theater downloading the personality of the coolest character. That was me watching The Big Lebowski, downloading the personality of the dude. Because like the way that I describe this movie to people is this is a movie with an incredibly interesting plot and a series of like really, really like engaging like scenarios and plot points and hooks, and the main character doesn't give a fuck about any of it.
Oh my god, it's so funny.
The dude, Jeff Lebowski, the dude, is a lazy, jobless, slack-off dude in Los Angeles, California in the late 90s. He doesn't have a job. He doesn't pay his rent. He just has a like cowardly landlord that won't ever ask him to pay rent.
And he loves his rug, man.
And he likes to go bowling. He likes to smoke weed. He likes to drink White Russians. And he knows what he likes, and that's what he's about. So in the beginning of the film, the dude goes home from grocery shopping. Where he pays for a 68-cent carton of milk with a check. And he is assaulted by 2 dudes. One of them starts dunking his head in the toilet and is like, "Where's the money, Lebowski? Bunny says you're good for it. Where's the fucking money, shithead?" And
It's the money, Lebowski.
And the other guy, Wu, whips it out and pisses on his rug. It really tied the room
Inciting
together.
incident.
This is the inciting incident of the film. And then, like, they find out that they have had, like, a bit of a misunderstanding, and that the dude, despite being named Jeff Lebowski, is not the Jeff Lebowski that they're looking for. They are looking for the millionaire Jeffrey Lebowski, who is rich and probably should get his head dunked in the toilet.
Yep.
But they leave, and the next we see the dude, he's bowling with his friends Walter and Donnie, played by John Good.
You're out of your element, man.
You're out of your element, Donnie. Donnie's played by Steve Buscemi and is kind of just there to like say little one-liners.
He's got like 15 lines, maybe.
Yeah, and like 5 of them are the same. Because there's a part whenever. Like one of them, I think it's when Walter mentions Lenin as in Vladimir Lenin, but Donnie thinks he said Lenin as in John Lennon, and so he just throughout the conversation he keeps like turning them and going, "I am the walrus," until he keeps repeating himself until they notice him, and Walter's just like, "Shut the fuck up, Donnie!
Yep.
You're out of your element." So Donnie is like just this character to like say little funny lines and get pushed around, and then Walter is batshit crazy.
The best way possible.
Like, he's very aggressive and contradictory to himself. And John Goodman is just really great at playing this kind of character.
Here's the question I always had with this character. Do you think he was a veteran? Do you think he's lying about that?
No, he was in Vietnam.
Okay, I couldn't tell the entire
believe
thing.
that wholeheartedly. I don't think he has PTSD. I think that he went to Vietnam and made it his whole personality.
Yeah, he just
in a similar way to I watched this movie and made it my whole personality. He went to Vietnam, and the only thing that he took away from it was like, I was in Vietnam.
He ran it into the ground, man.
So they're bowling. And the dude's like, "They pissed on my rug, man. It really tied the room together." They keep bringing up how the rug really tied the room together. And Donnie's like lacking on the conversation, and Walter keeps telling him that he's out of his element. And it's the dialogue in this movie is fucking perfect.
Oh, I don't think it could have been written better. It's just so good.
it's got such a like a pacing and comedic timing to it, because it's just like the jokes land and they just keep talking. Like
Yep.
if you are spending too much time laughing, which you probably will be, you're going to miss you're going to miss dialogue.
Yeah, dude. It's crazy.
And imagine watching it at 2 a.m.
Yep.
So the dude eventually is just like, oh, this is the millionaire Jeffrey Lebowski's fault.
Yeah.
So he sets up a meeting with Jeff Lebowski. How he does this, I don't know. Because he's
We don't need
literally
to know. It's
he's-
not important.
He's literally wearing like a hoodie, like a zip up hoodie, of like a very deep V-neck and shorts. Like none of these pieces of clothing look like they've been washed in the
Doesn't
past
he
few weeks.
spark up in his office too?
No, he doesn't do that.
Okay, I couldn't remember if that was something that happens.
He does that. He does that later.
That's right. That's right.
So, he like goes to meet with Jeff Lebowski, and like all he wants is his rug back. All he wants is a new rug, or Jeff to compensate him to replace his rug. And Jeffrey Lebowski is basically just like, you are a bum. You are a like lower class bum who is beneath me. I'm not going to give you shit.
Yeah.
And the dude's just like, all right. And then he leaves and steals one of Lebowski's rugs, which is great. I want the rug that he takes.
Dude.
Have you
seen it for sale?
Oh yeah, replicas of it are sold all the time. This is a huge, like, I don't know how successful this movie was, but it has like a huge following, especially in college towns.
As it should.
Like,
As
I'm
it
not
should.
the only person in Carbondale who owns this cardigan. I have seen other people in the wild wearing this. Not even like I've got it for a Halloween costume, but I also just wear it because it's comfy.
Sure.
But like I've seen people like out in the wild with these, like not even close to Halloween. So
That's
I'm not the
awesome.
only guy who's like this,
Man,
thankfully.
people love this movie, man. It's a classic. There's a reason it's so popular.
Right? It's just it's incredible. And so the dude like takes one of the rugs and goes home. And so for the dude, his plot is resolved. Like
That's where the movie should have ended.
that's where the movie should end for the dude.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for the dude, Jeffrey Lebowski's wife Bunny gets quote unquote kidnapped, which the dude does suspect is like a farce because he does meet his wife briefly, and she's just like a trophy wife that offers to suck him off for $1,000.
Yes, I remember that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so like clearly she's not into him, and why would she be? Because he's just like an old rich bastard. But so the dude suspects that Bunny kidnapped herself essentially. Like she set up this kidnapping scheme because she wasn't getting like as much money as she thought she should, and setting up the kidnapping scheme so she can just take the ransom money.
Yes.
So what happened was like she's been quote unquote kidnapped. The dude is summoned. In between this, there is a scene at the bowling alley where Walter pulls out a gun and points it at somebody because he claims that he was like stepping over the line
Yeah,
while
it was
bowling
a scoring error. Or
yeah,
something.
like some kind of scoring error for a league game. And he tells the dude to mark it 0, and the guy's like, mark it 8. And so Walter pulls out a gun, cocks it, it's loaded too,
Yep.
points it
Yep.
at the guy's head, and demands he mark it 0, and then puts the gun away. Walter's fucking nuts.
I was
He
gonna
does
say.
not face consequences for this action.
I feel like that just defines his whole character right there. Is just pulling a gun out at a
Pointing a gun at some dude
For
over
bowling,
bowling,
yeah.
which is great. So the dude gets summoned back to Lebowski's place, the Big Lebowski. The Big Lebowski does refer to Jeffrey Lebowski, the millionaire, not the dude, which is great.
Yes.
He's not even the title character in his own movie. So he goes and meets with Lebowski, and this is whenever the dude sparks up in his office.
Yes,
They're like
okay.
in the study by a fire,
Like, "You
and
mind if I
the
smoke
guy's
in here, man?"
the guy's like the Big Lebowski's given like some impassioned speech about like what makes a man.
Yep.
And the dude's just like, mind if I smoke in here? And he lights up a joint while having this conversation.
Oh my god, it's just a hilarious dichotomy, dude. It's so funny.
It's great. It's I think having these two characters have the same name, like not only does it set up like it's part of the inciting incident and everything, like it's part of that essential mix up there, but it also creates two characters that could not be more different.
Yeah, dude.
And,
I'm telling you, there's some social commentary in this movie. There's got to be something.
No.
There's got to be something. two ends of the same spectrum, Benjamin. They're both named the Big Lebowski.
There might be social commentary in this movie. This might be commentary on
Something.
on classism or racism. There is some racism in this movie from a few characters, mainly the Big Lebowski and Walter.
Yup.
Yeah, right. It might be like a commentary on a bunch of things. That's not what I get out of it, though.
That's the beauty of the movie, man, is you don't know.
You can interpret it however you want. The point of the movie is that all the dude ever wanted was his rug back. So he gets his rug. Oh, no. I believe right before he gets his rug, he is on his floor. He's laying on the rug. No, right after he gets his rug before he goes to see the Big Lebowski again. He's laying on his rug on the floor, listening to bowling sounds. like he's listening to bowling sounds in the way that I would listen to thunderstorm sounds to fall asleep.
Just ambience in the background.
Yeah, it's literally like the tape that the recording is of, like the recording is of like this bowling tournament or something, but he's listening to it like it's ambient noise and laying on his rug, and then he opens his eyes, gets punched in the face. And whenever he wakes up, his rug is gone.
Yep.
More on that later. So the dude goes and meets with the Big Lebowski and finds out that the wife has been kidnapped, and they want the dude to do the handoff of basically give them the money and get Bunny. Fair enough.
Easy.
He's basically, the point of this is like, the dude is a loser that the Big Lebowski doesn't respect, and so he is fine with sending the dude into danger in his place.
Some random guy.
For some reason, the dude invites Walter along.
Great idea. The guy who pulls out guns in bowling alleys.
Walter shoves him out of the driver's seat, takes the wheel, hands him, quote unquote, the ringer, which is this suitcase stuffed with Walter's dirty laundry. And basically what he's saying to the dude is, like, the dude is being offered 20 grand to do this job. And so Walter then says to the dude, no, we're going to give them the ringer, get the girl, and then keep the $1 million that we're supposed to give to them for ourselves. Which is really funny because he later has a line in this movie where he says that is a stupid idea. But in like a who would come up with that kind of idea kind of way, which is hilarious.
I wonder. He's
so not self-aware.
It's beautiful.
So they find out that it's not a handoff. It's a throw it out the window while you're driving.
Yep.
And so they throw out the ringer, and then Walter rolls out of the car with an Uzi and tries to shoot the guys. Gets the dude's tire blown out, and they take the suitcase, and nothing happens.
Yep, it all goes to shit.
So the dude just has $1 million now, and he didn't do his job.
Yeah.
And he's like, they're going to kill that poor woman, man. And Walter does not give a fuck.
I should mention his delivery throughout the entire movie, man.
Jeff Bridges is so
good.
great. Like, the dude just has so many, like, great iconic lines. Like, well, that's just your opinion, man.
That's just your opinion, man.
Or all the dude ever wanted was his rug back. Or the dude abides. Or... they're going to kill that poor woman, man.
They're going to kill that poor woman.
Like, he sounds like he is genuinely a guy that they grabbed off the street and convinced him that these events were real.
Yup.
And so, like, they're bowling again. They go bowling after this. After every scene, almost every scene ends with somebody saying, let's go bowling, which is great. And so they go bowling, and the dude is concerned about the woman and also the fact that he has $1 million in his car. But he also doesn't care like that much.
As he does. That's his
there's a bunch of dream sequences in this movie.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention one of the main things that I remember from the first time watching it in Nicholas's room is I had fallen asleep during the first like 20-25 minutes, and I woke up to the scene of him like
flying through the air.
Yeah,
that's the first one. That's whenever he gets knocked out and the new rug stolen.
Yep.
As he's flying through the air over the city of Los Angeles, and then he like falls to the ground and wakes up.
Yeah, like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. I remember waking up just like after falling asleep briefly to that. That's the scene that's playing.
It's great. And there's like more later. There's one that is like this cool dance sequence with all of these like backup dancers clad in like bowling pin themed outfits.
I do remember
like
that one.
like this movie goes crazy hard at random times.
For no reason
for
at all.
for no reason. Like it's just like, yeah, we're gonna get really silly with the cinematography and costume design for this one scene that isn't actually happening.
Right.
So the dude, he's worried about this, and then his car gets stolen with the $1 million in it. So now he is out a car, $1 million, and a rug. It's at this point, around this time, that he meets Maud Lebowski.
Yes.
So the dude is invited to Maud Lebowski's house. She is an artist. Every character in this movie is incredibly unique.
Yes.
She is very stoic and to the point.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, she took the rug back because it was a gift from her late mother. And so it was not the Big Lebowski's rug to give. So whatever. She doesn't think that Bunny's been kidnapped. And she thinks that this is actually a bigger scheme because the $1 million that the Big Lebowski took out for the ransom was from a charity that he funds.
Okay.
So she essentially wants the dude to go detective for her, I believe, and figure that out for sure. But the dude doesn't want to do that, so he kind of blows that off.
He doesn't want to do anything, dude.
No,
he just wants his rug.
So he finds out, he gets a call from the police, and like he gets his car. The $1 million is gone. Like the case that had the $1 million is nowhere to be seen. And he has to like get in it from the passenger side door now, because whoever took it for a joyride and totaled it.
Yep.
But it still runs. And the dude finds this worksheet of some kind. It's a graded paper, like a piece of classwork.
Yes.
That has the name Larry something on it. The dude tells Walter and Donnie about this fucking homework that he found, and Walter and the dude go to interrogate Larry, whose father is in an iron lung.
This movie's so weird.
And so
I keep
Walter, like the
forgetting
dude
about-
shows up dressed how he normally does, which is like barely wearing clothes, and he looks like he hasn't taken a shower in days.
Yeah.
And Walter shows up in a full suit, and they roll up, and they meet Larry, and Walter starts like screaming and yelling in his face. Essentially,
Larry's a kid, right?
Larry
He's
is
a
like
kid.
15.
He's a kid.
And Larry is completely unreactive the entire conversation. He doesn't have a single line in the movie. He's just like staring dead straight through the two of them. And so Walter says, this is what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass, because there's a new car parked outside that they thought Larry bought with the $1 million. So Walter goes outside, gets a crowbar, and starts trashing the car, then finds out that it was actually the neighbor's car that he just bought. And so the neighbor takes the crowbar and trashes the dude's car.
The poor dude, man.
And Walter's just like, fuck it, dude, let's go bowling. So they go bowling
After all
again.
that.
The dude is then summoned by Jackie Treehorn, who is the guy that Bunny owes money to. This is the guy who the two dudes, the guy who pissed on the dude's rug. That guy, those two guys work for Jackie Treehorn, because they were supposed to get the money from the Big Lebowski, but they went with the small Lebowski, the dude Lebowski.
The dude Lebowski.
So he's invited to speak with Jackie Treehorn, and the dude's just like, yeah, the guy who has your money, like I know who he is, I know where he is. His name's Larry. He's about 15. He lives here. And Jackie Treehorn obviously doesn't believe him, and it's a good thing that he happened to spike the White Russian that he gave the dude. And so the dude has a hallucination.
Yep.
Ends up waking up in a police station because he was drugged, and is told by the police officer that Jackie Treehorn called the police because the dude was like causing a ruckus at his party. And Jackie Treehorn's name pulls a lot of weight in this town.
Apparently.
And the cop like beats up the dude a little bit, like shoves him over and like kicks him. Like the dude is like really tired in this scene, and so he's like kind of like groggy sounding, and then he gets shoved over and he goes, "Ow, fucking fascist!"
Dude, that reminds me, we're forgetting one of the best lines in the movie. He doesn't care about anything. He's a nihilist.
Oh yeah,
I forget the context for that, but dude,
yeah,
there
is another group of people. Yeah, the group of people that quote unquote kidnapped Bunny are the nihilists. They don't care about anything.
They're nihilists.
It's so funny because you got Jackie Treehorn's guys, you got the Big Lebowski, you got Maude and her people, and then you got the nihilists, which are considered like their own faction essentially. Like they talk about nihilists in this movie like you would talk about like members of a political party.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like they're all coordinated and put together
they're all
over this
under a figure
idea
of some
of
kind.
not giving a shit about anything.
Don't care about anything. They're nihilists.
It's incredible. So the dude goes home, rugless yet again. This scene is where we get the line, "All the dude ever wanted was his rug back." He says that right before he collapses from the drugging.
Yep.
Then, the story's kind of wrapped up. Like we see the nihilists that claim to have kidnapped Bunny, but they didn't actually. At some point, like the Big Lebowski is like mailed what he believes to be his wife's pinky toe. I guess like a threat. It was actually just one of the nihilist pinky toe that they had painted the nail on.
Yep.
And cut off. Which, you know what? I gotta respect the game.
Honestly, yeah, you got to do what you got to do.
I respect the hustle. So they're bowling.
As per usual.
The dude, Walter and Donnie, and while they are bowling, they go outside, and the dude's car has been set on fire by the nihilists. And Walter tells Donnie that there's no danger because they're nihilists. They're nihilists, Donnie. Nothing to worry about.
It's so stupid.
So then there's this fight scene that involves them drawing katanas, I believe. Like the nihilists draw katanas.
Oh, every nihilist you'll meet is equipped with a katana.
They're always strapped. And so they get into this fight scene. Walter bites off one of their ears. He pulls a Mike Tyson and bites off the dude's ear. Walter's like really jazzed about this also. He like really wanted to get into a fight. But for some reason, this is where he doesn't use his gun. And then Donnie ends up getting fucking killed by the nihilists.
Oh my god.
Donnie, like it's not played for a joke either. He straight up dies, and they have a scene where they are like planning on what to do with his remains. So they go to a mortuary. He's been cremated, and they're trying to get the urn, but they don't want to pay for the urn because they're going to scatter the ashes. So they go to a Ralph's across the street and get they get a coffee tin, like a Folgers coffee tin, fill it with Donnie's ashes, and then they go to like a cliffside overlooking the Pacific Ocean. This is the funniest fucking scene in the movie. This is the funniest fucking scene. Like before I talk about this, dear listener, I need you to go watch The Big Lebowski and specifically watch this scene because it's the funniest fucking scene in the movie. Walter gives a little a little eulogy about Donnie, and it's very sweet and nice. And then he makes it about Vietnam,
of course,
because Vietnam is his whole personality. But he gives his little speech, and then he opens the tin to scatter the ashes, but they are. The wind is blowing towards them, and so the ashes get scattered all over them and like all over the dude's face, and he's just staring like unmoving as the ashes just get all over his face. And Walter's just like, "Oh fuck, dude, I'm sorry," and starts trying to clean it off. And then like the dude like is just like, "What the fuck was all that shit about Vietnam, man?" And Walter gives him a hug and says, "Fuck it, dude, let's go bowling." And then they go bowling.
Yep.
And the dude talks with Sam Elliott, says the dude abides. Sam Elliott gives some narration, and that's the end of the fucking movie.
That's where it is.
This is how the movie closes. This movie is like it's a masterpiece. I didn't even talk about Jesus. The other guy on my shirt. I'm wearing a Big Lebowski shirt. There's a character in this movie called Jesus that is doing a lot. Like he's like super extra about bowling, and he's essentially like competing in the tournament, and he's just this like very like over the top, flamboyant,
Very ostentatious.
possibly queer coded character,
Yeah.
minor antagonist that doesn't do anything.
He's in what, one scene?
He's in two
scenes?
total scenes. There's the first scene that he's introduced in which he shows off his bowling skills, and he has like a whole outfit that has like his name embroidered
It's all
on
purple.
it. Yeah, he has an all purple bowling fit, and then he has one more scene later because they rescheduled the dude and Walter and Donnie's game with Jesus because it was on Walter's Sabbath day.
That's right.
And
that's right.
and Jesus goes on a rant about it, about how they're cowards. But that's just how the movie ends, and this movie is like a fucking masterpiece.
Oh my gosh, it's a fever dream through and through, man.
It's
it really
just-
is.
It's just like it's like if here's how I'll describe it for my nerds in the audience. It's like if you were playing a D&D campaign. It's like if you were DMing a D&D campaign and you wrote all of these interesting plot hooks. So like if one didn't work, you had one on the backup.
Mm-hmm.
And the players just kept saying, "No, let's go drink at the tavern."
Let's go bowling.
Yeah, literally. It's just a series of like, we're introducing this plot and the main character could not give less of a fuck because all he wants is his rug back. And going through this scheme is not going to help him get a rug.
Nope.
So it doesn't matter. Like the dude is such a singular-minded character. He's got one goal, and he's gonna accomplish that one goal. But anything else, nah.
I was gonna say, man, I can almost the man has a set of values that he's operating off of.
Rug.
I want the rug, and I'm gonna get the rug, and like, I can only honestly respect him for it.
It's just like, and it's his motivation in the entire movie. Like, his motivation never changes. We see the inciting incident of his rug getting pissed on. He wants to replace his rug, and that is all he wants to do for the rest of the movie. He doesn't want to, like, save this woman's life. He doesn't want to he's not even, like, too upset about losing $1 million.
Or his car.
Or his car. He reacts with mild annoyance. Because it's just like, man, that's gonna make things difficult.
Or Donnie dying, like,
Yeah,
like he just doesn't care.
Because he still doesn't have his rug back.
Yeah.
He's got shit to do, and that's get his rug back.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's such a brilliant execution of like a perfectly aloof main character
Yep.
that I feel like has never been done well anywhere else.
Dude.
Like, because you have characters that have one goal and are never going to take their minds off that one goal. But I think having a character whose one goal is so trivial and stupid really
It's so
just
entertaining.
like it makes the rest of the movie seem so much more interesting because we're seeing it through our eyes, but we're forced to experience through the dude's
Yep.
perspective.
Yep.
And so we're just like, why didn't you do that? Like, why
just
don't
wants
you
the
care
rug,
that you
man.
just lost $1 million? And it's just like, he's just so chill about it.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't care because why should he?
Honestly, man, it's not his problem. If I'm being real, I feel like we should all aspire to be the dude a little bit.
He's like he acts like this because he's like never I guess he's like never been incentivized to give a fuck about anything. We don't know why he's like this. We don't know what made him this way or if he just was always like this.
Yeah.
We just know that he's like this and that he's going to remain like this. Like, this is one of the only movies that I feel satisfied with the fact that the characters started the story the exact same place they ended it in.
Yeah, right. It makes it better.
Or vice
It makes
versa,
it
I mean.
better.
Like he does not grow. He
Nope.
does not change. He doesn't become like not lazy.
The
He
dude
doesn't
just abides,
He doesn't
man.
stop drinking. He doesn't stop smoking. He doesn't pay his rent. He doesn't get a job. Like, all of these things that are like seen as flaws. He's like Garfield
Yeah, and then
in a lot of ways.
And the thing when it comes to like movies is a lot of times you're like rooting for the main character, and because they have flaws that you can relate to, with flaws that you can recognize. This guy is just some fucked up like random guy who loses a rug, and you're still like, dude, just where's his rug, bruh?
Yeah, like, despite the fact that like he is a total loser, like anybody can relate to the dude's flaws because he like every flaw that he has. Almost every person has one of these flaws.
Yeah.
Almost every person is a little lazy. Almost every person has vices. Almost every person wants to just say fuck it and go bowling.
Right.
And almost every person wants to not give a fuck about anything like that. And so it creates this very interesting story of like, no, I can see why he made that decision.
You're
Like, he's not
honestly
gonna,
rooting for him at the end.
he's not going to get his rug back if he does that. So why
Yeah.
would he do it? So, like, and like, he's not a good person. like he's got like a good heart, I think, because he does like show concern whenever he thinks that woman's gonna get killed, whenever he
Right.
thinks Bunny is gonna get murdered, but also he's not gonna do anything about it.
It's not his responsibility. It's not
No,
getting him a rug.
he didn't even like. He didn't even have the decency to call the Big Lebowski and Brandt and tell them, "Hey, I fucked up."
Yeah,
He
right.
can't even be bothered to tell somebody that he did the job wrong.
Hey, we botched the, you know.
Because that's how little he cares and how little he wants to do things. And like,
I respect it. There's
I don't know
something
if me reminding you of this character is necessarily a positive thing, but you know, I in some ways I do want to embody this guy. I
we are,
want
man.
big things to happen in my life and for me to not get upset or afraid about
I
it.
think that's the beautiful thing. Is just he just takes everything in stride, man.
Yeah,
he's got
I
his
want-
priorities.
I want to go through like a big change in my life, and my only concern is my rug.
All right, Ben. Next time when we get back, I'll go ahead and piss on your rug for you. Make sure
Thanks.
we can
Appreciate it.
get
It's
this-
actually it's carpet. I can't remove it, but you know, I really appreciate the thought, man.
That's what I'm here for.
That's
what
why
I'm here for.
that's why we're friends. So, you know, like I think with that we're ready to rate this thing. So here on Is It Better Than Paddington 2, we have a rating scale that is based around the reviews of Paddington 2 from across the World Wide Web,
Okay.
as some call it, which gives us out about an average rating of 4 stars
Okay.
for Paddington 2. So, my dear friend Anthony, how would you rate The Big Lebowski out of 5 stars?
Dude,
Just
it's-
on every level of like your enjoyment and also like just filmmaking in general.
if I'm being honest, I feel like they executed on everything that they wanted to execute on that movie pretty damn solidly. So
Yeah.
I'd give it a solid 5 stars. It is
Yeah,
it is a very good movie.
It's even like if it's not great from a filmmaking perspective, it's like incredible. It's an incredible experience.
yeah, they executed on these really goofy ideas that they had, and they did it well.
Yeah,
so it's like
I feel like it's just one of those movies that like you gotta see.
yeah.
Like it's one
Yeah.
of those like this movie, its premise should not work. A main character that doesn't want to participate in the story, that shouldn't work, but it works so well.
I know, man.
I'm also going to give this movie 5 stars.
Bless.
This is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I've made it a big part of my personality for that reason.
Humble
like-
beginnings, man. Back in high school, I was calling this out. I was calling it out early.
You sensed it within. You sensed the dude within me.
I saw it.
And and now it's out at the surface. Like
I
I
saw
look,
it.
I look like the dude in many ways. Like I have my hair long. I have a goatee. I used to have the sunglasses. They're broken now. I'll have to get a new pair. All I ever wanted was my sunglasses back. They
This
pissed
is
on.
your- this
They
is
really,
it.
they really tied the look together.
I'm saying.
So yeah, like I gotta give this 5 stars. Like it's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite movies that is also good.
Yep.
Like a lot of because I say it time and time again. I love stupid movies, and this movie is a stupid movie,
But it's
but it's
good.
amazing. Like it's so. It's just like a wonderful experience to
Yeah.
have. Like every single time I've watched this movie, I have always been just like enraptured
Honestly.
in the story or lack thereof.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like when it comes to like rating movies, that's such a strong point to have. Is like, did I enjoy myself during the movie?
I mean, yeah, like
100%.
like most of my like ratings for things like that, I always factor that in.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, you can have like the most well-made, well-executed movie with like the best camera work, the best editing, visual effects, the best actors of all time, delivering the best lines in history. And if it's boring, it's 1 star.
Yeah,
like
100%.
Like the point of art is to evoke emotion.
Yeah.
And my favorite emotion to have whenever I'm seeing a movie is joy.
Yep.
And so if I feel joy watching a movie, then that's a good movie.
Yeah.
Even if it's bad.
Not that this is the only factor to compare, but I will say I laughed
like-
a lot harder in this movie than I did Paddington 2.
I'm
laughed
saying
a lot harder.
I am saying. So that brings our average rating to about 5 stars, since we both gave it 5 stars.
Beautiful.
Which makes The Big Lebowski better than Paddington 2. Have you ever
Made
seen
it.
Paddington 2?
I think I've seen clips of it. I've never seen the full movie.
I've seen it once. I saw it
And
once.
here you are
I
with
saw
a-
it once in 2018 in theaters. I have not seen it since, and it's the entire premise of this joke.
I was gonna say, man, the whole podcast.
Though I based an entire podcast around a movie that I've seen one time.
Well, what do you rate Paddington 2?
That's a secret.
We'll find out.
That's a surprise tool that will help us later. But with that, I think we are going to close out. Be
Beautiful.
sure to tune in this Saturday to Cult of Media's Streamathon from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., April 27th, Central Standard Time, where we are going to be doing a whole lot of fun segments, including the last ever episode of Is It Better Than Paddington 2, which will be live at 9:35 Central Standard Time in the morning.
Exciting.
But yeah, like that's gonna be it. Like after this is the pre-recorded episode. It's coming out on Wednesday, and then it's Saturday for Streamathon, and I'm done with this show.
Well, I'm honored that you invited me on for the last pre-recorded episode.
I'm honored that you're here. And I would like to take a moment to like thank everybody who like has ever listened to an episode. Thank you, Walker Spalding, #1 Is It Better Than Paddington 2 fan, the guy who has listened to like every episode the day it comes out. Like, thank you to everybody who's ever listened to any episode, even if you only listen to one. This is a stupid bit that I came up with a year ago, and it has blossomed into just a silly thing that I do. And it's a lot of fun, and I love talking about movies.
Man,
I love talking to my buddies.
Yeah.
My buddy Antonius.
I will say I've seen a lot of growth from Ben on Ben's part over the past year and a half, and I think a lot of it is related to just having the confidence to be able to do this kind of stuff and going out and recording podcasts and being goofy on the internet, man.
Quite literally putting my voice out there,
Dude, it's working.
It's
I'm
been a
proud
lot
of
of fun, man. So yeah, that's gonna do us for this episode of Is It Better Than Paddington 2.
Beautiful.
Be sure to tune in from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time for Cult of Media Streamathon on twitch.tv/thecultofmedia, as well as our YouTube channel that you are watching this on right now, certainly. And just remember, always, if we're kind and polite, the world will be right. Thank you.
That's how it goes.